Hello humans, welcome to the simple autumn makeup tutorial. Today I'm going to show you step by step how I got this look so that you can replicate it too. I'll be using an old time favorite, the Anastasia Beverly Hills Modern Renaissance palette. This is actually my second one and you'll see later it's very used. So first I start off with cleansing my skin with the First Aid Beauty Cleanser and then attempting a gel mask from a Korean beauty brand I adore. I had so much trouble with this though, but I figured it out eventually, and after about 10 minutes of having it on, I massaged the residue into my face. I then washed my face with cold water and patted it dry before putting on my moisturizer, which I also really like to work into my skin. My skin is very dry and flaky and only turns normal in the summertime, which for me means I'm constantly battling my nose from flaking under makeup when it gets cold. To prep my lips, I'm using the 8-Hour Cream from Elizabeth Arden. I love this thing. Now stepping away from the skincare and into the makeup, I love these Dior Glow Drops and the Backstage Primer is very hydrating. This is definitely my favorite duo to use as a primer. I mix the two together and distribute it around my face in even amounts before blending it all in with a stippling brush. I love the glow this gives, and since I use a CC cream instead of foundation, I don't lose it under the coverage. I'm going to do the same thing with the CC cream and blend it into my skin with the stippling brush, really taking my time to make sure everything is blended. You can definitely use a damp beauty sponge as well for this, but I will often reach for the brush first. Then using the Pat McGrath Labs Skin Fetish Concealer, I'm going to highlight the center points on my face and blend them out with a stippling brush. Now I use a smaller concealer brush to get a more opaque impact under the eyes, and I also use the residue left on the brush as an eye primer, which I then set with the Ben Nye Translucent Setting Powder. For bronzer today, I'll be using the shade Mocha from Fenty Beauty. I like to sculpt my face with this by applying it directly onto the skin, on my forehead, eyes, chin, nose, and higher up on my cheeks to sculpt a gorgeous bronzy jaw. This is also when I really blend my makeup into my hairline. This is such an important step, especially when contouring or bronzing. You want things to look very seamless. For blush, I love to use a creamy texture, so I often reach for these Dior Lip Glow lipsticks, which I honestly use almost exclusively as blush. The glow that these bring onto my cheeks is so pretty. Like, who needs highlighter after this? Then using a fluffy blending brush, I'm going to set my under eyes, nose, and forehead with some of the Ben Nye setting powder that we used earlier. Now this is the finished result of the skin. I usually tend to go about 4 or 5 hours without it budging or needing to be fixed up. After that, a concealer or eyeshadow correction here and there keeps my makeup fresh for the day. Now using a fluffy blending brush, I'll be going into the shade Burnt Orange and applying it underneath my brow bone and slightly blending it into the brow at the front. Remember that eyeshadow doesn't just go into your crease, especially transition shades. They should be evenly applied within your eye socket, which is the soft space beneath your brow bone and above your lid. It's much more space to work with than just your crease line. Next, I'm going to use 2 brushes for this step, a smaller, flatter packing brush and a slightly longer and fluffier blending brush. Using the shade Red Ochre, I'll be applying it all over my lid, trying not to go above the crease this time. We're going to focus on keeping this color lower on the eye and blending it more outwards instead of upwards. So I pack the color onto my eye with a smaller packing brush and then blend it out with a fluffier second brush, not forgetting to gently blend the 2 tones we used into each other for a smooth transition. I like to do that near the end of this step, with minimal product being on my brush. Next, I use a small brush for more precision and I add this gorgeous shimmer, Primavera, into the inner corner of my eye and just a little bit into the inner third of my lower lid. I love the highlights that this adds to my eyes. And using a more firm, medium round brush, I'm going to take the lightest shade in the palette, Tempera? Yum. But actually I'll be using this shade to create a perfect shape on my eye, sweeping this color directly on my brow bone and underneath the eyeshadow wing. After which I'm going to use a small precision brush and a brown eyeliner. I'm starting with filling in my waterline directly with the eyeliner and then using the brush to create an accent line underneath my eyeshadow, which I'm also going to gently blend upwards for a more seamless transition. To finish off the eyeshadow, I'm going into the Huda Beauty Topaz Obsessions mini palette and into this gorgeous deep rose gold shade that I don't know the name of, but we're going to use the same small shimmer brush we used earlier and apply this underneath the lash line along the lower lid, connecting it to the brown liner. Then I curl my lashes and throw on some mascara, because if you're like me, then false lashes are mostly for special occasions and mascara is for every day. It may seem weird to sound that I'm doing my brows at the end, but this is just to show you that there aren't really any specific rules about the order of things in makeup. Do what feels right for you and just enjoy the process. Last but not least, I'm going to fill in my lips with a brown lip pencil and soften out the harshness with my finger. Most of us don't have symmetrical lips, so I do my best to add some symmetry with the lip pencil. And then for the center, I'm going to take an unsharpened lip pencil that's more of a light pink. I prefer to use an unsharpened pencil for this step because the product comes out more creamy and blendable. That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. My goal on this channel is to teach you more about simple, recreatable makeup looks that are wearable and look great in person. So if you like this look, let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks!